Dun, 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 dun. It's the beginning of the next Corridor Cast
Hey,
podcast.
everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome back once again. Who are we here with today? Do you guys want to go round robin and introduce yourselves?
Yeah, sounds good. Kick it off, Jake.
Okay, well, hey, my name's Jake Watson. I'm the producer of Corridor Digital, and welcome to our podcast.
Favorite pizza?
Favorite pizza, probably sausage pepperoni.
Ooh,
Nice.
took my favorite.
Two meats.
Yeah. I mean, why, maybe add a little bell pepper in there if you're feeling
I mean, you're already eating pizza. What's the point, right?
thin crust maybe. But, I'll just take normal hand-tossed pepperoni, sausage. Let's go.
You know what? I ordered a pizza from a pizza place lately, and they delivered it to my door, and it was so heavy. And I'm holding this pizza, and I'm like, this pizza weighs legitimately 10 or 15 pounds. Probably 10 pounds. It weighed about 10.
What is that, meat Jesus? Did you get a meat
Well,
Jesus?
I opened it up, and because the thing is that I was like, I want a thick pizza, please. And I opened it up, and the pizza crust was 2 inches thick on the end and 2 inches wide on the outer diameter, on the circumference.
You got that extra deep dish.
And I don't know if they just slapped two pies together or something like that, but it was an incredible pizza experience. It was I couldn't tell if I was eating focaccia bread or pizza. So I'm never going to order from anywhere else ever again.
Wow. Well, who are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
What an introduction.
Hi, my name is Sam. I've already told you about my favorite pizza, but so there's not much else to say. I'm a co-founder of Corridor Digital and a frequent guest of this podcast. So
Welcome back.
Talk to you. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm Christian. I'm business manager at Corridor Digital, and I also tech these podcasts. So here we are.
Nice.
Hey, Christian, welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for tech.
Pepperoni pizza and meat Jesus. Pepperoni and, if I have to go more, put some meat on that thing.
Is the meat Jesus all the meats?
Oh, well, the meat Jesus at
Oh, yeah.
Pizzanista, it's all the meats they got.
They got bacon on it,
It's
probably.
bacon, pepperoni, sausage. It's all good.
Jesus will take anyone into his kingdom, just like any meat on that pizza.
Anybody in that meat?
Wow.
Well, I think it's the person eating it is the one who needs the forgiveness.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Niko. I'm a production assistant at Corridor. When people need coffee, I'm the one who goes and gets it.
Nice.
And my favorite pizza is, there's this one pizza shop that's in Lower Manhattan. They have $2 slices of just cheap-ass pepperoni, but the crust is coated with cornflake crumbs before they put it in the oven, and it is the best pizza crust I've ever had. So that's my favorite kind of pizza.
Cornflake glaze.
Cornflake crust.
Christian, do you remember that late night place in Midtown?
Dude, in New York. Oh, yeah.
Every night.
Dude, yeah, that one spot.
Those
Hey,
guys
Jake.
were always-
Yeah, just hooking it up. Just like, oh, yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
man?
They were
Back?
just like, yeah, we got to get rid of this. Buy it all.
Yeah, here, take
We're
it.
closing in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That is the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're just like, hey, we're not doing anything with these. You're the last customer. You want this? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I want it.
That was
Jake,
great.
I just want to ask you, are you sure that you're using the microphone on your desk and not the one in your webcam?
Oh, shit. Really?
Yeah.
Hold
Tap
on,
the
guys.
microphone.
If I do,
Tap
You
it.
just
Just
do.
oh my goodness.
Nope.
Everybody, you're about to hear Jake's voice get upgraded. Here we go.
Guys, I don't know what to say.
Oh my God!
Wow, you
It's
sound
a
so much
new
better.
Jake.
I don't know what to say, everybody. This
Turn
is
up the volume.
Yeah,
Isn't
You
there
start
a knob
with-
on those?
it does-
You
I think
start
there's
with,
a knob
"I'm
on the front of
sorry."
that thing, too.
No, that's for the speaker.
Mm.
Dude.
Is this good?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Besides,
Bring it
I
as
got
close
separate
as you
audio
can,
channels
but
recorded,
yeah.
so.
You're good.
Guys,
Wow.
we've made some mistakes here. I'd like to be the first to apologize, but you are the truest of the Troutons when you're watching the Corridor Cast, and you get to see us at our best and our worst. So
Sometimes
welcome.
we fail.
Yeah.
Speaking
But
of
you know-
seeing us at our best, Jake, tell me about that jersey that you're wearing. Do you like
Oh,
it?
man, we've been working on these for a long time now. This is a true Majestic,
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Majestic brand, MLB brand, baseball jersey. I've been working on these with Jay. We got the Katakana corridor right here.
Mm.
We've got our little well, it's our unofficial baseball team name is Papa Sam and the Grounders, or no, Papa Fly. Papa Fly and the
ground.
Now, Jake, I know you're a ball
we
man.
resemble a 70s like funk band, but
Yeah.
also a baseball team.
Jake, so I know you're a ball man, so give me your opinion. Are you
Okay.
are you a long bat kind of man for the grand slams, or a short bat kind of guy for the bunts?
Man, that's tough. I've been watching baseball for years, and in my whole life, I've only ever seen like 4 or 5 grand slams.
That's
like
incredible.
5 while I was watching.
You gonna go out there and swing for the fences?
Yeah. I mean, like I like a good bunt just as much as the next man, but it's not as exciting as a grand slam, obviously.
You think the boys have what it takes this year?
Oh yeah.
A bunt is like the most anime baseball move, though. If you think about it, because you pose before the ball even gets to you.
Yeah.
Well, you like silently like listen for the ball, and it just like bounces off your bat.
There's also a lot of like interior monologuing that happens before a bunt, because it's not something you just do like willy nilly. You have to plan it out. So you're there thinking like, if I bunt this ball, he'll be forced to run forwards, therefore getting the second baseman onto the third base, which sets us up for a score.
Yeah.
That all happens, as the ball's in the air.
Well, the ball is traveling towards you, and you don't think about any of that until you're in bunt formation.
Right.
Like the ball is like 2 or 3 feet away before you even figure out what kind of strike you're going to give it.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, what about you, Sam? What's your favorite kind of baseball hit?
Hit? I'm one of those XL bats. I want one of those like 4 or 5 inch, a fat bat. I'm a fat bat kind of boy.
Yeah.
I love to just give it a little smackaroo and send it flying out of the park. I'm a slow runner, so that big bat gives me a little bit more air on the ball.
Do you use pine tar?
On my feet, actually, I use it because once again, I'm a slow guy. I'm not much for skidding. I don't have enough. I want as much grip as possible as I'm running to first base.
Huh.
Never made it there.
Never made it to first base?
No, never made it to first base. But we'll. I got a few games this weekend coming up.
Okay. Good luck.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Yeah, man, swing away, Sam. Swing away.
Yeah.
Swing a leg.
Swing a leg, man.
Swing a leg.
The title of this podcast, guys. Swing a leg.
Good luck, man. Swing a leg.
Yeah.
It actually comes from a kickball phrases, but yeah.
Sam, how's your Unreal rendering going? I heard you guys did some recording the other day.
Oh yeah.
Good. Well, yesterday was a huge milestone because I can sit around and pixel fuck all day if I want to, but like until I have an actual like script / performance / actual like stuff to start building from, like it's all basically R&D, so to speak. So yesterday we held a remote voiceover session, basically, where Niko, Clint, and myself hopped on Discord. We're all recording high quality files locally at our individual locations. We read through a script, did a bunch of improv and riffing on some clips, and today I've started going through and I'm basically editing like an audio only version of the video, so that way it will help me create a blueprint of what to animate.
So it is a true animation in that sense that you're scripting and you're recording the audio prior to the video.
Yes, exactly. So then basically the way the next steps work is once it's edited, not like perfectly edited, like we'll do more editing after we render out all the footage, but basically I'm just setting up like, all right, here's an audio track that I can build out animations and camera work from as if this was what was actually happening on set. So I have my audio there, and then I will pair that up with a facial animation next, where basically I'll use a phone to basically mime what each person is saying and attach that animation to their character's face. And then the next step after that is doing body animation. And since we're not using motion capture suits, basically I have a whole library of like seated expressions and talking and laughing and crying and screaming, you know, like all sorts of stuff, which then I will like pair to each moment so that way they're like emotionally consistent.
How come you didn't use a mocap suit?
It's kind of like a space thing right now, because like I could use like the XN suit. I could just put it on and sit here in my desk, but like I don't know. It's there's not a lot of space, to be totally honest, to move around right now where I'm working, and so I figured that I can just use a lot of like canned animations for the body and the expressions, and do some manual tweaking to them to make them fit. Because if you look at VFX Artists React, it's like the only thing other than like going wow or whatever blah blah is simply just turning to the person next to you and speaking. Like that's the only like specific thing that happens other than like the whoa, oh my god, you know. So but that's why we did this video specifically, is because it's like, all right, it's dialogue and face based, and it's people on a couch, so it's like an easy point of entry to making like a fully animated piece like this.
So this is really just the test for all of you watching. This is just the test that we're going to do before we attempt to actually record an entire VFX Artists React episode and post it with this method without anyone knowing if it's live action or not. We're just gonna we're just gonna float it out.
The challenge.
Well, they just today an artist just released a real-time, nearly photoreal model of our Superman boy, Mission Impossible boy, Witcher boy, what's his name again?
Henry Cavill.
An artist made like it's just went online today, and it is crazy how good it looks for a real-time model. I mean, it's comparable to like any model, to be totally honest, like any photoreal rendering, but it's all operating and able to be captured in real time. So the only difference, the reason I'm not doing that right now is because that takes months of research and work and just like a crazy amount of skill that I haven't built up yet. But to be totally honest, yeah, like down the line here, like
well, you know what's funny?
That's a possibility.
I'm joking about it, but when we met Snoop that one time, he was serious about it. He was like, "Man, I'm just trying to figure out how I can find somebody that can give me some renders so I can be on stage entertaining, but I'm not actually there."
Yeah.
You know, be in two places at once. That's like that was his thing. That's the next level thing that he's trying to get at.
I mean, he was on stage with Tupac for the hologram, so he's just like, do that for me for my shows, and then I could be somewhere else.
Yeah, he referenced the Gorillas as his inspiration for all that. It's like they got it figured out. They can do a concert anywhere.
Yeah, like no one knows what they look like, so anybody it could be any musicians.
One guy though, right? Basically, Gorillas.
The Gorillas is a band, a whole band that play up like when they're on the stage, like all the lights are dark and they're just playing, and you don't know what they look like. They only show like their animated,
that's cool,
like characters. So yeah, no one knows what the Gorillas actually look like.
It's funny because it's like I totally respect that like attitude towards like creating art of like that weird anonymous element, but like just today, like something was posted on Reddit of like Tool, that the band playing one of their really early shows, and it's just them on stage in a tiny bar without any shirts on. But the thing is that was like one of their first shows, but then very quickly after that they pivoted to the whole like mysterious band thing without, you know, going almost like a decade without posting like photos and having like the stage really like ominous and hard to tell who they are. I would imagine for bands starting out, it's kind of like really, really hard to stay consistent with that vibe though. It's like, you already have to be kind of famous.
Yeah, it's tough.
Ghost is a good example.
Well, yeah, they just have masks and makeup. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the band got kind of screwed over because the initial backing band, well, let's just say they were all hired studio musicians, but then studio musicians are usually really good musicians. They all brought their flair to it. And then they're kind of like, hey, you know, this band's blowing up and we're all wearing masks and no one really knows who we are. And, you know, hey, Mr. Frontman, you're kind of the front man. It'd be cool if we could get some of this recognition. And he's like, no. this is the job. You wear masks. And they're like, okay, we're going to sue you.
Where did this happen?
The band Ghost. But then he was like, it's cool. I'm still a very good songwriter. And then he proceeded to continue to like make 2 more albums that are all pretty solid. So, you know, it is what it is.
So I guess the Gorillaz is just 2 guys.
Is it really?
2 guys and a guest artist for like every
I think
song.
when they play live, like they hire a band. I don't know if they're part. Yeah, they might not be part of it, but there's a lot of sounds going on. If it's just 2 guys, wow.
Aren't the Gorillaz like just former members from like Blur?
Yeah, maybe. Let's see. His band Blur. Yeah, Elbrum departed from his distinct Britpop band Blur.
Yeah.
To such hits as Woohoo.
Epic hits as Woohoo and Song Number 2.
Oh, those are the same song, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Wow. And he's like, I'm not feeling it creatively in this band. My song titling sucks.
He woohooed right on out of there.
He woohooed his ass out of that band.
Woohooed his ass right on out of there.
Yeah, I guess the same thing with Daft Punk. Anybody could be under those helmets.
Yeah, they've had their pictures taken here and there, though.
Yeah, gotcha.
Too famous.
Yeah, but they also committed to, like, that's their face. And then everybody else like, I'm going to copy that. And then you have Deadmau5 and you have
Marshmallow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all the other ones that we forgot.
Yeah. I feel like being electronic artists these days, it's like 80% your branding and like 20% your music.
Oh, yeah.
But you still need to have a couple good hits here and there.
Yeah, they still got a hit, but like,
I need those club bangers.
that's what all music seems like. Yeah, it's just
I mean, you really just need a good engineer so that way you don't murder people's ears with your synthesizers.
I mean, we're getting to the point now where there's so much music written that like, it's not really anything that like stands out unless it has like a new sound, which is hard to do right now. Like, you could definitely train an AI just to put out like decent electronic music at this point. It wouldn't invent anything new. It's not like it'd give you a sound like, wow, it wouldn't be like Skrillex dropping the first dubstep song, you know, it'd be just your middle of the road EDM. But man, you could put out just hours and hours of generic EDM at this point.
I found some AI generated rock music. Are you guys ready for this?
Oh boy, this is gonna play through your computer speakers into your microphone.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Okay.
This is gonna be some janky shit.
Kind of crazy.
Hold on, we got an ad.
Somebody's getting their 1,000th of a penny.
little Metallica starter.
This is very generic. Okay, I can't play any more of it.
This isn't worth our time. This is not worth the time of our audience.
We're good.
Well, that was generic. I don't know what else.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, humans are superior, clearly.
We solved it here. In case you were wondering whether or not AI or humans were superior, humans still have it.
I've been getting some pretty gnarly YouTube ads lately. Like one today was just like, "Hey, do you shave your balls?"
Manscaped?
Yes. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this shit?
I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah, and then the guy, like, that's the guy with the soap. That's like the soap
guy
with is shit.
Yeah.
Pussy, you washing yourself in the shower? You little pussy with your soap? Come get some man soap,
yeah,
you bitch.
It's like, yeah.
It's like, fuck
guys.
you.
Yeah.
You're really appealing to my demographic, bro.
Appealing to the insecure masculine people out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
That soap, telling you, anybody that showers with that soap, it's a fucking bitch.
No, but for real, the soap's full of chemicals, and that's bad for the environment.
Man soap.
And like, yeah, I should be sensitive.
I don't mean this in a hateful way, but if you're using that 2-in-1 shampoo, you're fucking gay.
It's like, okay, yeah. It's like, I know it's like that close to them saying that.
That's how the ad starts.
Oh boy.
It's like, what? Oh my god.
What the hell is this? Oh my god. We should make a vignette.
Soap.
We should make a vignette video where it's just outrageous advertisements.
Yeah.
Every 15 seconds.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, that's, by the way, that is a YouTube video idea right there, which is every like dude ad on YouTube.
Yeah. Easy, free idea for everybody. Maybe we'll beat you to it. Who knows?
Yeah, and you can just pick everything.
What else is going on around here, guys? What else have you been working on?
Been working on the edit for You Monster. That's coming along nicely. So Willy Wonka Rated R, I think is going to drop the same day as this podcast.
Same day,
Yes,
tomorrow.
It should be out right now if you're watching this.
Yeah, chances are if you're someone who listens to / watches the podcast, you're also someone who watches the videos on our channels. But if you aren't, you can head on over to Corridor Crew to watch the robust chonker of a video where it talks about us making it and shows all the reactions. Or you can head on over to Corridor and just watch the video itself without the reactions. But at the end of the Corridor video, you'll see a little teaser for 3 upcoming Corridor videos. And that's pretty cool. It gets me amped. You can see some of Sam's stuff. You can see some of You Monster. You can see some of Tactical 3 loads as well.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't even seen this teaser yet. Well, as of this podcast, I haven't seen it. But just you saying that gets me pretty amped.
Yeah, it's like, we got videos still coming out. Yes.
We're dropping 4 videos tomorrow.
Are we really?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. We're doing Willy Wonka Rated R on Corridor, the Making Willy Wonka Rated R on Corridor Crew, doing some gameplay on Node, and then this podcast.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I'm psyched for that TTT episode on Node.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Yep. So that's also live right now, too.
So that's future Jake talking to.
I don't know what you're doing hanging out here with us. You should go watch those videos right now.
No. Hang out with us. This is fun.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I want you to be listening, dear member of the audience.
Jake, have you seen the Willy Wonka edit yet?
I saw it before. I gave Nick some notes, but I haven't seen it since he did what. I haven't seen what he did with those notes.
Well,
what about
he did
effects
some
and
magical.
Because it's hilarious.
It's insane.
It is very different from where you last saw it, Jake, and in a very good way. It transformed from something that was like rough and mediocre, to be totally honest, into something that's incredible. Like I couldn't breathe, dude.
Sam was just cracking up the whole time.
What was the difference?
Dude, he added a whole scene, which was amazing. Like
he added a few scenes,
but
then also
created a scene that fit perfectly well.
Well, like the knife scene.
Yeah, him going and he like brought his dad out to the Seattle
perfect.
alley, and it's
perfect.
So perfectly.
There's custom shots that he filmed for it, which are perfect, and they match flawlessly. Multiple viewers in our little session didn't know that they weren't from the movie.
Oh, I'm one of them. I was like, I don't really remember this section of the movie. How did he repurpose it? I was like, how did he repurpose that?
And then on top of all that, he cleaned up the entire piece and managed to find completely new takes of Willy Wonka saying some of the creepiest stuff that you don't even like. It's like stuff that I'm watching and I'm like watching him say it. I'm like, that's in the movie, like. Like, and what are these shots? Like, it's incredible. Not to mention the actual like effects on top of all that.
Ian and Peter join us.
The scenes are just completely insane. Like, and I say insane a lot, but it's literally insane. Like, this is crazy stuff.
Yeah, and we had guest appearances from Peter France as well on the effects, and Ian Hubert, right?
Ian Hubert, if Peter is the prince of Blender, then Ian is the king.
Yeah, straight up. Up.
That's how it is.
Blender King Ian Hubert, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Like truly, I feel like Ian is probably the most versatile Blender artist I've ever met. And Peter.
I mean, I would even say he's one of the most versatile, talented 3D artists I know. I see a lot of stuff from a lot of people. But Ian is able to create like worlds and scenes and stuff that is at this like crazy level that tons of people like just spend their whole lives trying to get good at like one of the things he's good at. So
yeah. I mean, that thing he put out in that like kind of technology world with the girl in the elevator. It looks like something straight out of a AAA movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lives a wild little life there. We went up to visit him that one time up in Washington, and he's just living in the woods, like
a little compound,
making weird renders with his little sets over there, and just living it, man.
The thing I always like think about is the really creepy underwater swimming, like the under the stadium, because he has like this whole studio area that used to be like a cult compound, and there's like a stage.
Ian bought a property that used to be a cult compound.
Yeah, and then
the church of the compound
is his studio.
Has a baptism underneath the stage.
There's a stage with a trap door, but it doesn't lead to like a behind the stage kind of like area. It leads into a covered swimming pool. It's
like
more like
huge
a swimming
tub, yeah.
It's more like almost like a tank.
It's a concrete pit. Let's be real.
Giant. No, it's a tank though. It's actually got a finished like tank.
Yeah.
Like it'll hold water,
when you drop down from this trapdoor, you fall into like a concrete pool.
Dude, instant baptism.
Yeah,
that's just Ian's house.
Yeah, it's just part of his house.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I can't wait to see it. I'll be watching it with these very eyes right now when you're listening to this.
That's cool. Neat.
Nito
Torpedo, man.
Hey, what's Mega Steak Man doing on the Discord?
Well, he is doing similar things to what I'm doing in Unreal. Okay. So he's been working on doing some like real-time character stuff, and we've been just kind of trading information, I guess, as far as like what we're doing. He's got a whole different setup, but I might have him try and like come in to help like create the character models, actually, because I'm using a method where I photo scan us and then do a bunch of manual work, and he's using some really cool software that is able to take images of people's faces and build much cleaner, much more versatile models that you can animate based off of them. And so the trade-off there is you get more flexibility and a little more expressiveness with like his method, but my method is a photo scan of a face. So it's like in a lot of angles, it looks a lot more realistic instead of like looking like a video game character, so to speak. So, but yeah, that's what we've been messing with lately.
Did we for people that don't know who he is, he's an artist that we met through Mike Devo, right?
Yeah, he's in Vancouver, I think, or something like that.
Is he? I thought he was in Germany.
Oh no, that's
did he move to Vancouver?
No, that's another guy. That's Calvin.
Oh
Serrano.
Yeah, you're right. Yep, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Sam.
Yeah, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I have a little more work to do before like doing that, but there's definitely a fork in the road coming up here, because I don't want to like make one and then like maybe have it does well or something and we're making another and I'm like, let's just like completely create a new method for this. I'd like to just make sure it has a solid foundation when we start. But
yeah, so you're not building everything from the ground up every time.
Yeah. Well, actually, one thing that is really kind of interesting to talk about. So in this idea that we're doing here, since it's like it's a parody of the VFX artist reacting, where it's video game characters reacting to their reacting to video games, but it's a world where these characters are working professionals in the video game industry, but in a fictional way.
It's like if there's a Wreck-It Ralph version of like VFX artists react, like that's basically what you have with the video gamers react. It's a very interesting balance to the humor though, which I wouldn't mind talking about in a second here.
Yeah, but right now, as I'm going through the edit here, basically I'm picking out moments that we're going to create custom behind the scenes for, basically, where I'm going to take game character models of the games we're talking about and our character models that are talking about it, and basically create these like mini fictional behind the scenes vignettes that show our characters like working in that game, behind the scenes. and there's a whole bunch of they're all like really weird moments that are like they're bizarre. They're absolutely bizarre, and kind of right now it's kind of like one of the biggest sources of like the comedy of the piece.
I can't wait to see that. It's gonna be really cool.
What was that? What was that like really old BTS that they spent all that money on with Jackie? Was it Jackie Chan?
Oh, the like, Jackie Chan Stuntmaster game.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. we actually bring that up. Yeah.
God. What was that?
I don't know.
Oh, man.
The tricky thing about like the video gamers React thing was that like we have to like make jokes about. We have to make jokes like we're in this world, but we still have to reference like pop culture. Like a good example is like the Avengers game that's coming out. Like the game has these really fancy graphics. It's like they put a lot of attention into it, but obviously like none of the characters look like the characters from the movies because
like the actors. Gotcha.
Yeah, they couldn't afford the likeness.
Yeah, so they were the Avengers game could license the property and the characters,
but not the actors.
But the actors' contracts for the Marvel Cinematic Universe didn't apply to the game. So like, yeah.
Yeah,
so they're like the generic Captain America looking dude.
Yeah, so the whole joke of this like of that segment is where we're talking about like now you wouldn't believe like these faces are recognizable to every household in America. Like the amount of money they would have to spend like to get these guys there, it's crazy. Let's take a look at the star-studded cast, and it cuts to the image, and it's like, you know, who are these people? And it's like here we have Otacon from Metal Gear Solid, we have Lucas from Smash Brothers and Earthbound. We have default woman number 2 from The Sims. She's been in the games like The Witcher. She's been in Fallout. Like these are the industry. Like these are the industry's hardest working actors.
They're all like super famous likenesses of pre-existing game characters.
Yeah. So these are the equivalent of the actors in the video game world, but of course it's a satire, you know, level deep on the whole fact that like none of these people look like anybody you know.
Oh,
dude, Adam Jensen as Tony Stark, this time with the metal on the outside of his body.
Mini boss 01 level 1.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Well,
wait till you see who bulked up for Thor.
Yeah. Who Thor is a secret, and the character that plays Thor is going to be one of those scenes where I'm going to be creating our own custom behind the scenes that shows you how a certain video game character was able to transform into Thor
for this game. Oh,
yeah,
one of the most unlikely characters.
One of the most unlikely transformations.
Exactly. Who knows, man? This might be the next like video series that we do. Look at us, we're just becoming React boys. Turns out Benny and Rafi had it right the whole time, man.
Here we are 10 years later.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, Sam, like, I guess how long or what? Like, what's the goal of how long like it would take to produce one of these episodes?
Well, this first one here is kind of like hey, let's make it in a timely manner, but it's also there's still a lot of question marks going on. So like, I mean, feasibly though, like after the process gets ironed out, like I could see, I don't know, like maybe like you could really pump one out in 2 weeks if you really wanted to. The main thing though is that like you still have to write these ones a little bit, you know, like they're not pure just like off the cuff reactions. Like you do have to like write jokes for them because you're not actually reacting to stuff.
Yeah, it's got to make sense.
It's a lot of it is fiction. So, but like the big overall goal is like at least streamline this process so that it's not going to take longer to do this than to go out and shoot a regular video with like live action in a real environment, etc.
Gotcha.
And just have it as like an option.
Yeah, it might be a fun series to
That's what I'm saying.
Just you know, it doesn't need to stop us from doing anything else, but it's always nice to
have those formats.
In the back have stuff like that people enjoy that we can produce with a little bit more regularity than some of our other stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So do you guys want to talk about what's going on with our studio over the next few weeks, or with coming back in and with the possible additional space and all that stuff, or
yeah.
Okay, well, let's see. It's when this comes out, it's April 24th. So, the idea is to start getting together next week to start filming some things here and there, is it not?
It is. So my arms are disappearing from my video. Ah, my arm! Ah! It's gone. It got blown off by a space laser. Just kidding. Here it is. All right. That was visual effects, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Yeah, so, we've been here in quarantine for like a month now, working from home, which has actually been nice. Silver lining to all this. But, the whole thing, like, with working from home is that you don't get to hang out with your buddies and, like, film videos, and that's become a little tricky here. So, like, we did VFX Artist React the week before last week, where we all sat decently far apart and then used a zoom lens to put us close together. And, we're going to need to record some more of that, but also just being able to, like, talk through an edit with somebody or film a segment with somebody. Those are things that, like, we need to start doing. So we're trying to figure out, like, how do we strategize this? And, for one, like, the whole team's been really responsible with social isolation. We've all been at home. We're not interacting with large groups of other people. So at least the way I see it, is if we take the necessary precautions and we, wear our face masks and wash our hands and we keep our distance, you should be able to get together in groups of 2 or 3 to film something, or, other stuff that, involves having a camera and pointing it at somebody else, not necessarily being close to each other. Starting to kick that off. And little by little getting back into being able to film some things and produce some things. But, we've come up with ideas like Sam's Video Games React thing, where we don't necessarily have to have a big crew all in one spot. It can just be a couple dudes, if even that, like, getting together. But we'll trickle into that little by little, starting kind of with next week. And there's a study that I think it was either Yale or Harvard, or, like, I know USC did one, where they just took a random sampling of people in Los Angeles and found out that, like, 4.1% of people have already had the virus, which would put the actual numbers at
anyway.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's, you have antibodies from something else and it's a false positive on the test, but if it's not, which, they've had multiple kind of groups kind of go do this, so it's probably relatively accurate. It puts the total cases in LA at between 220 to 400,000, which means in our group, in Corridor, it means that there's a 50-50 chance that one person in the group has had the virus already. Yeah. But more importantly, I think it shows you that, there's the vast majority of people are asymptomatic or just show minor symptoms. And obviously for some people it's very deadly, just like, the flu or anything else can be. Obviously the biggest risk here is that it spreads like wildfire. It's more contagious, and then, everybody gets it and ends in the hospitals and they get overrun. Like, that'll still happen if people aren't careful. But in a way, I don't know, maybe it means the disease is just a little less scarier. It's not like if you catch it, everybody gets the shit kicked out of them. It's like, okay, it's like the flu. It can still mess you up. But it's more so about just keeping it from burning through the population too fast. And then, it's still a fresh disease that'll still kill new people, and you don't want people to die. Anyways, where I'm going with all this is that, little by little, we're going to start getting back into, like, the studio and filming things together. We're going to try to figure out a way to do it safely. But
let's film some Node stuff too, live action stuff.
Dude, social distancing tag. I think that's like, we've had PVC pipes with, like, tennis balls at the end.
Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that next week.
Yeah. Maybe it's time to also share the good news to our listening audience that Ivy and I put an offer in on a house, and it was accepted. And after living in Hunter Street, in the Hunter Street building for 11 years, we will be moving out. And
there it is.
That will be we will be the last ones living in Studio 3. It technically started in Studio 6, but we were only there for 6 weeks, and we moved into Studio 3. And that was back in 2009, February of 2009. And we've been in Studio 3 ever since then. Like, our lives have totally transformed being in the studio. And in 2 weeks, Ivy and I will be gone. And that will be that.
And then what happens with that studio?
Well, and then Corridor Digital gets a new spot to hang out.
You're not saying bye to the studio in total.
Yep, Corridor Digital gets to double its floor plan here and expand into the old Corridor Digital studios. Studio 3 also used to be old Corridor.
But it just so happens that it's happening
And Niko, your commute time suddenly jumps
I know, man.
3,000%.
Having to commute.
No, sorry, 30,000%. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, I used to just be able to walk down the stairs to get the corridor. Now I have to drive my car.
For 11 years.
I know.
Downstairs.
Just think of like all the hours I've had, like the extra lives I've lived thanks to not having to commute.
Oh, I know.
That's a real
Many lives.
Many lives. I'm actually looking forward to having a bit of a commute. I'm starting to realize that I need like the 20 to 30 minutes, both to and from work, to think about like what we're going to do for the day and, you know, where I can be effective. Because I don't really have a boss, you know, I just need to like show up and like figure out the right thing to do. Or, you know, Jake and Sam can yell at me, but you know, other like, it's still, you kind of figure it out your own way. You don't just sit there until a manager tells you what to do. And then likewise, you know, sometimes things get stressful and like, sometimes I have to be like a hard ass about something to get done, or like I'm getting frustrated with something. And like when work's done, if I just go home, like it's literally, I walk out the door and now I'm So having the car at home will be a chance to like decompress and switch gears so I can feel like I'm actually home when I get there.
That is super important.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's basically what I use on my commute. The way in, it's like getting ready for the day, listen to a podcast or catching up on music, but you know, kind of just getting the mind ready. And then driving home, it's also time to like, hey, I'm gonna relax, hang out with the fam, the girl, and stuff.
Yeah,
it's important. It's an important process. It's frustrating when there's traffic and you don't want to be that long, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Gideon.
What's up, Gideon?
Hey, Gideon. Can you say hi?
Gideon. Hey, buddy.
Hey. Hi.
I love your little mohawk thing you got going on.
Dude, he's rocking it.
He's getting big, man.
He's kind of blown away with all these screens. So he was like, "Oh, it's a man." You heard that earlier.
Yeah.
Who's that?
You.
That's you. yeah. Who's that?
You.
That's not me.
Mia.
So that happened fast, though, man. I mean, I guess
Dinosaur.
You were looking for houses, and then all of a sudden that one, and now.
Yeah. Well, it was both fast and slow. Like you guys want to listen to me tell a story of looking for houses a little bit?
Tell the tale.
All right, cool. So Ivy and I actually started looking at houses like 4 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and we spent like about 2 or 3 months doing it, and then just backed off of it. One, you know, Sam and Sarah were still living in Studio 3 with me and Ivy, so rent was actually super cheap. You know, the rent was being split 4 ways at that point. And we have a lot of space here, and the commute was really nice, and the street was quiet. So it kind of came down to like, we didn't really feel like we were going to gain much by trying to get a house, just aside from a lot of debt. so we ended up not doing it. And then, you know, time passed. Sam and Sarah got married first and had a kid first. And thankfully, Sam and Sarah were gracious enough to get out of the apartment before the baby was born, so that we didn't have to wake up 5 times a night to share in the baby experience. But then it was just Ivy and I here for a little bit, and I actually really liked the idea of being in just a downtown loft, like this is a true loft that we have here. It's not like, you know, some fancy remodeled place. Like, this is an old office, and it's wide open, and it's got high ceilings. You know, it's a loft, and
yeah, you
know, live that life for a little bit. So we did, you know, did that for about 2 years, and then the street got more and more busy. My car got broken into. The freaking weed grow up down the street, putting these fans that are so loud it sounds like there's a microwave in the room with you.
I'm so sick. There's a weed grow up on every corner in LA. Actually, I can't believe there's that much demand for weed.
Well, you know, it's cheap and easy, I guess, at this point. To be fair, those fans, in fact, they're so loud and so overcranked. I think they actually put the wrong voltage into them, so they're spinning like way faster than they should be. They have all since burnt out.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Yep. There's one day where they're just going, and that was annoying. But I also, you know, smiled on the inside, knowing that
this is the end.
Close to coming to an end, and I didn't have anything to do with it. So, yeah.
Didn't shoot any BBs into it.
Didn't shoot any BBs. Didn't throw any bolts into them. Didn't like put any sand on the bearings. Yep. Not me. Didn't do any of that. But and that sounds sarcastic. I'm being serious. I didn't do any of that. Yeah. But so Ivy and I started looking for for a house, basically back in January. And we're like, okay, this is a city, there's houses. Yeah, it'll be a little competitive. Like, it was really competitive. Like, we were not ready for how competitive, like, it was. Like, it's basically any house that's good, there's about 20 other people that are trying to buy it at the same time. And to win it, it doesn't just mean putting in the biggest price. And I'll tell you about how they screw you over in that process. It's also about, like, so there's a strategy that we learned as it went on, and it's how you play dirty when you try to buy a house. So first things first, you put in a really, really, really high bid, higher than anybody else. Well, first you just put in a high bid, and then you ideally get countered. They come back and say, okay, your bid was good, but this is the new price to beat. Very often, though, these days in LA, they don't say that. They just come back to you and say, cool, nice, thanks for the offer. Come back, counter us now with your best and final. So they don't tell you if you had the best offer. They just say, you need to come back to us with your best and final, which means if you want the house, pick a number. We're not going to tell you where. Just pick a number that's higher than the number you gave us. That's the highest you would ever possibly go, your best possible number, and then we'll tell you if you get it. And so you're sitting there like wondering, like, was I already the highest bidder? Am I just bidding against myself at this point?
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, it's such a bitch move, and it's frustrating as all hell, but that's what everybody does. And so because of that, all the buyers now have a game that they play where they come back and they go, okay, here's my best and final. And then they blow everybody else out of the water and come in with a way higher price. Like, I'm talking like $100,000 higher than like everybody else, just like really shooting out there.
It's crazy.
The whole idea is to shut everybody else out of the process then and get the deal going.
Yeah.
And then once you're in the deal, then you do the inspections and do all that stuff, and you come back and you say, well, the pipe was blocked. I know I could get it maintained, but I want to replace the whole thing, so that's $7,000. So just give me a credit for that. You have this like one small issue with the drain in the kitchen. You could just fix it for $100, but I want the whole thing replaced. Give me a $10,000 credit for that. Like, then you go through and you come back with a list of credits to knock like $100,000 off the price. And now, of course, they're already like in the deal with you. The escrow is already happening, so they don't really want to back out. And basically, you come in with this high price to kick everybody else out of the process. So it's just you, and then bargain hard and bring the price back down to what you actually want to pay for the house. And
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it's super annoying. Like, we would watch houses that we were into, like go into, pending or something like that on Redfin or Zillow, and then drop out like 3 weeks later because clearly like everybody was doing that all over the place. And of course the sellers are just like, whoa, I thought we were actually going to get the number you offered.
I mean, theoretically too, it's like you can put in those high bids on a house, go into escrow, have inspections done, and then say, actually, like this door's kind of squeaky, but it makes me suspicious of all the other doors, so I don't want to replace all the doors. I'm going to back out. You know, it's like you can extrapolate a tiny little thing into a reason worth backing out if the seller isn't willing to like actually, look at your itemized chart and negotiate back down.
Yeah.
I thankfully didn't have to use that method. I mean, we moved here like 3 years ago. It was still pretty crazy then, but what you're describing, Niko, sounds
the thing is, like, we were aiming for Eagle Rock, which is like in Highland Park and that kind of stuff, which is like one of the last like neighborhood type places that's close to LA still. Like there's neighborhoods around LA, but like in terms of a neighborhood that's like 20 minutes away from LA, that reminds me of Stillwater, Minnesota, which is where I'm from, where like you can literally walk down the street for a cafe or like go around the corner to a park. Like Eagle Rock is one of those places. Like there's, space between the houses, there's yards, there's sidewalks, there's trees. And, once again, you're literally 20 minutes away from one of the biggest metropolitan centers in America, if not the world. So like it's any house there is being scrutinized by so many people and, being fought over. But what ended up happening is, so we ended up seeing a house in Eagle Rock that was small, but had a really nice yard. And that's one of the things I really valued, is I wanted a really nice yard. Just some spot for Milo, my daughter, to be able to run around in. And then, the weather in LA is so nice that if your yard is nice and it connects to the house, it's basically another room at this point, because it's always just room temperature outside in LA. So if the house is small, if the yard is nice, then who cares? You got a great yard. You just hang out there. So we ended up finding this really tiny but nice house in Eagle Rock. And it happened to go on the market in the middle of all the quarantine. And Ivy and I already had our down payment saved. Like, we were all set. We had already been pre-approved for the loans and stuff before everything hit the fan. So we were in a good position to continue looking for houses when suddenly the demand for houses dropped. And it's not that prices for houses didn't necessarily drop, but just the competition, the 25 people, like trying to bargain for a house and get it, like all that disappeared. So like, those cutthroat Hollywood managers trying to buy a house and like squeeze everybody else out of the game, they're all locked in their condos now back in Hollywood. So I got to finally have a chance to, find some houses. So we found this house in Eagle Rock and we put in an offer. But right as we were doing that, I saw a house pop up in Glendale, and it had twice the square footage, had a bigger backyard. It was only 4 minutes further of a drive, so not that much further. And I was like, man, that's a really nice house. It's kind of making me have second thoughts about this Eagle Rock house, but whatever, let's do it. And then the Eagle Rock house, we lost the bid again. That was our 5th house that we had put an offer in on, by the way. So we had bid on 5 houses up to that point. I was like, well, maybe that Glendale house is available. Let's go check it out. And then, oh, nope, somebody put an offer on that house. It's off the market. I'm like, damn. Well, time for round 6. You're getting pretty, burnt out by this point looking for houses. But our realtor ends up calling them up and they're like, hey, we might be actually backing out of escrow with our buyer. They're kind of being bitches. They didn't say that. They're basically like, the deal's not working out. And it sounds like what happened is the strategy that I explained to you of people coming in high and then like aggressively bidding down. They were trying to pull that on these people in Glendale, and the people in Glendale were just like, we're good. We'd rather, like, it was their home. It's not a flip thing. It's not an investment property. Like, it's just a nice house they took care of. It's from 1917. It's like, nothing's brand new in it. It's just all been well maintained because the families actually lived there for 20 years and took good care of it. And so like, we're not interested in this stuff. And also the owners were the sellers. So we're like, we're not going to play that game. Hey, maybe we'll just wait until all this quarantine stuff is over. So we reached out, we're like, hey, we actually really like your place. Would you by chance want to show it to us? I know you're not like actively doing that right now, but would you just want to show it to us? So we show up, we have our baby and she's super cute. We get to meet them. Turns out the owners are also the listing agents, and they think we're cool. They like the baby. They like the fact that we're, just a family looking for a house. And we put in an offer, and we put in for just a little bit, a tasteful amount over the asking price, just to like, show some respect, but not a ton.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we'll take it. And so we didn't have to deal with any of the competition. We didn't have to deal with any counters. There's no bidding wars. There's no best and final. There's just here's our price. It's close to what you're asking for with a little bit on top. And they're like, let's do it. And that happened like 4 days ago. So now we have to move out of Unit 3 and be in that house by the 13th of May.
Yeah, so, it's such a hurry up and wait process. It's really funny.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
It's definitely it's a huge weight off our shoulders, though. It's like after the grind of months and months. And like, it's one thing when your baby is like just a human grub and like can't do anything. But like once they start wanting to like move around, you kind of like, boy, I can't take you outside. It's just literally a street filled with pee from homeless people. It's like there's no yard for you to play in. Like we'd go on hikes and like we'd sit in the grass and she'd look at the grass. She'd be like, oh, and she like grabs the grass like, oh my god, and she starts chewing it. It's like, oh, I feel bad. This should be like boring to you by now.
Yeah.
So
good.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm psyched. And we are, I guess at the end of the day, we are kind of getting a deal. I mean, it's not, we're not saving a ton of money, but like compared to houses that were going for that price in Eagle Rock and Glassell Park and Highland Park, like it's a step up. So it's just, we got to avoid the whole bidding up process, which basically kept the price from rising 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the market's like in a few months here, because who knows how many buyers there are going to be and how many they're not going to be. I know things are getting pretty insane here, though, and that's just an example, one person's example of what it's been like for people trying to get homes and get property here.
Yeah, well, actually, what led to it being so insane recently was the fact that in 2019, everybody was talking about a recession. Remember that? Like, everybody's like, oh, we're going to hit a recession at some point here. We're expecting a global recession. There's going to be a recession. And then everybody was saying that through 2019. And then, like, around comes, like, December, and then, like, just the stock market starts going up. And it was like, even faster. And it's like, that's kind of weird. And then January hits. It's going up even faster. And then February hits. It's going up even faster. And everybody's like, all right, no recession. We're good. And then all the people in 2019 that were going to buy a house but were waiting because they thought there was going to be a recession were like, screw it. It's time to buy houses. So the beginning of 2020 had not just the regular demand from people wanting to buy houses, but all the people in 2019 that had held off started wanting to buy houses too. So like demand like doubled briefly. And that's when we happened to get into it too. So that's why it was so gnarly. And then, coronavirus happened and it put a damper on all that. But dude, once that lid comes off and people get to start doing this again this summer, like it's going to be nuts. I'm glad I'm out of the game now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, on that note, on the recession note, there was additional 4.4 million unemployment signups last week, making the 5-week total since the quarantines began 26.4 million, which is more than all of the jobs that have been gained since the Great Recession.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. So I don't know. Is that a switch? Is it as much of a switch that you can flip on and off as people have been saying?
There's definitely going to be an impact. It's going to take a little bit of time to recover from it, but it is something where if people can start returning to their jobs, like it'll
But there's no doubt that business after business is going under right now.
Yeah.
Even with the CARES Act and the payroll protection program and the freaking, even with all that stuff, like, there's certain markets and certain businesses that are just going to be hit too hard that are already closed or are going to close soon. And those jobs aren't coming back, my friend.
Yeah. True. And you just got to wait for it to grow, just like a plant, Just got to wait for it to slowly grow.
We just trimmed it. Now we're about to chop off a major limb. Do you think this will grow back? You get the chainsaw
out. Yeah. Dude, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that's the unexpected thing. I mean, I think we should honestly all just cross our fingers and hope that there's not like an earthquake or something that's like normally bad. You know what I mean? Like that happens over the next like 2 or 3 months, because that would actually screw things up.
I mean, it might force people to start doing stuff again though, too, at the same time. I don't know. Could have all kinds of effects. Crazy. All right, guys. Well, anything else? Anyone else buying a house these days? Christian, you saving up?
I'm not buying anything. No, I'm doing my best to save, but I'm not working on buying a house yet. It'd be nice in the future, but we just moved into our apartment in November, so
nice.
Yeah, no, we're happy here. It's probably the best place I've lived in LA so far, other than the house that we lived in.
That was a fun house, man.
An awesome house.
Yeah.
Yeah, George has made that house real nice over there.
Yeah. Well, our whole refurbishing helped when we repainted and redid the floors.
And the floors, yeah, that makes it a whole new house.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining the podcast once again, and till next week. Till next time.
This is our 41st episode.
Wow. I really enjoy these podcasts. They're a lot of fun, especially since I don't get a lot of social interaction right now outside of my wife and my baby. It's a chance to hang out with my bros for a minute.
It is. That's why we do them. That's why they're always coming out at odd hours, but that's why we do them like this, because they're more fun that way.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Well, subscribe.
All right, guys.
Cool. Yep. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for joining the Corridor Cast podcast.
Later.
Hey guys.
See ya.